Hello, howdy, hey, hi there. I'm Bodhi, but feel free to call me Pix. Today we are going on a journey together, a journey that is brand new for this channel. I'm tackling the task of playing 100 days in Stardew Valley. I thought about adding a twist because playing 100 days seems kind of boring, but I put some effort into some other things, so keep watching to find out. With all that being said, let's jump over to Waterlog Farm and witness my life in Stardew Valley in these next 100 days. On day 1, I woke up in my tiny cabin to my 15 parsnip seeds, then proceeded to reorganize my tools. I spent a second taking in the environment of the Riverland farm, but then quickly got to planting my parsnips. If we want to complete the community center in a reasonable amount of time, we gotta get working on those parsnips. After planting, I grab enough wood to make a chest, clear my inventory for forageables, then run into town for the first time. As I'm looking for the spring forageables, I make my way around to say hello to a good chunk of the residents of Pelican Town. I find the local market and spend all my gold on more parsnips. I say hello to a few more faces before returning to my farm, plant my new parsnips, then head to bed after exhausting all my energy on my crops. I woke up on day 2 to a note from the local fisherman saying that he's back in town. I water all my crops, then rush down to the beach to get my hands on the fishing rod. As I make my way down to the beach, I say hello to everyone else I haven't introduced myself to yet, then meet Willie to grab my bamboo pole. I spend the rest of the day fishing, completely ignoring my energy, and proceed to exhaust again. At the end of the day, I almost forgot to sell all of my fish, which would have sucked. I need those profits ASAP. I managed to get fishing level 1, so that was a nice start. Day 3 is the average rainy day to start off playthrough, so I spent all of my time fishing. I made my way down to the beach, found a good spot, and started going. I just fished. That is it. I literally did nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. I just fished. I did end up hitting level 1 foraging and level 2 fishing that night. Day 4 was also filled with fishing, but with a few other chores sprinkled in between. After watering my crops, I grabbed my artifact and my geode and ran them over to the museum and to Clint's to get my collection started. I spent the majority of the day fishing on this bridge. Once I got a pretty full inventory, I headed down to Willie's to sell, then fished off the dock for the rest of the night. My foolish self also overexhausted on the pier, but I was lucky to have some algae on me so I could at least not be crawling home. We hit level 3 fishing, then moved on to day 5. Day 5 is definitely the most eventful day so far. We take a little break from fishing to grab my furnace blueprint that I got from Clint and a cute little farm kitty. I did fumble with the name. Dudley's cute, but not what I wanted, so I restarted my day to get the kitty the name of my dreams, Dongle. It's perfect. Be literally a precious best friend a farmer could ask for. I go through my mailbox to mainly get promotional stuff, so I move on to harvesting my parsnips. I ended up getting 2 gold parsnips with this first harvest, so I have high hopes that I can finish this quality crops bundle pretty quick. I make my way into town to get more seeds, but I'm too early, so I rummage through the townie's trash before making my way back to Pierre's to pick up some potatoes, cauliflower, and beans. I take my new seeds back to my farm to get them in the ground, water them, and then use some energy to clean up the area around my crops. After some chores, I realize I should have unlocked the community center today, so I make my way back to trigger the cutscene with Lewis, check out the rat problem, then go back to Waterlog to keep clearing the farm. I managed to hit level 1 farming and make some good money off those parsnips. I decided to tackle the mines for day 6. After watering my crops, I take nothing but my pickaxe and some hope over to the mines to grab my sword and get going. I wasted so much energy looking for ladders, so I sadly left the mines only being able to make it to floor 5. Since I was out of energy, I spent the rest of the day making my way over to the wizard to unlock the bundles. I then loaded my pockets full of random items for the community center and Gunther. It was pretty late when I got everything loaded up, so I decided to go to bed and make my donations in the morning. Day 7 was great because I finished up the spring foraging bundle, gave Lewis a flower for his birthday, then ran my little legs up to Robin's to buy paths to start decorating my farm. I go back into town to drop off my other gems to the museum because I got distracted with the excitement of decoration. I placed this cute plant in my house, then head back out to craft a scarecrow to protect my crops. I then collected wood to get started with my path. Struggled to figure out how to make how do you make the chest do the little bouncy thing? I couldn't figure that out. So I gave up. I made another chest and then I moved over everything manually. I did a sneaky little fishing on my farm before trying to clear up my chests for some more money. On day 8, I cleared some trees for more wood to continue working on the pathing around my crops. To the left of my house, I cleared up some more land to get a tree farm started. Keyword is started. I only planted 7 trees. I then went through my chests to grab more community center items, then ran my little legs up to go donate my precious fishies. On the way to the center, I found a leak on my normal foraging route and had to run it to the old man ASAP. I decided to spend the rest of the day fishing up on the mountain. It was raining on day 9 on top of a good humor day, so into the mines we go. I only made it to floor 13 before being brutally attacked by so many bugs that I just had to run. I made some furnaces when I returned to my farm and just spent the rest of my time fishing. I hate the mines, normal and skull caverns, so I just needed to take a breather. Once I was out of energy, I organized my chest so that I have one that that only has items for the community center or the museum. After that, I called it a night and made some good money off of my fish. Because I was still traumatized from the mines on day 10, I spent all of my time fishing. Before I get to that, I decided to plant my cauliflowers that I got as a reward from the museum, as well as my mixed seeds. I also wanted to take some of my fish to the community center, so I spent some time foraging around town before I donated them. Once I was done with all of my chores for the day, I found a nice spot on the mountain, then fished my little heart away. I took a mini break from fishing to go check out the Adventurers Guild. Nothing too interesting in there yet, so I just went back outside and continued to fish. I was so entranced in my fishing that I accidentally exhausted, but I ate some algae and kept going. It worked out though because I hit level 4 fishing that night, so no loss of energy for me. Day 11 was a rainy day, but I harvested my potatoes before setting off in search of Robin's lost axe. I foraged my way through the forest up to the townie's trash and snagged the first backpack upgrade off of Pierre. I drop off Robin's axe before running up into the mines. I barely made it to floor 25, but I did, and I am proud of that. I didn't want to try and rush home though, so I decided to wait until 2 a.m. and pass out at the top of the mines. I hit farming level 2, foraging level 2, combat level 1, and mining level 2. I also made all the money I spent on the backpack back and more off of my potatoes. It was raining once again on day 12, so I grabbed my rod in preparation for a fishing day. I did notice that it was Friday, so I made my way down to the traveling cart. I got my hands on some overpriced items such as a coconut, a sandfish, a pufferfish, and a rare seed. I realized later on that I spent all the money I had saved up for strawberries, so it was a good thing that I was planning on fishing all day anyway. I ran my new items up to the community center, then headed down to Pierre's to pick up some more parsnips in hopes of getting all the gold ones I need this first spring. After running my bank account dry, I take my parsnips home to get them planted and put away the rare seed until fall. I head back into town to set up by the river for my all-day fishing escapade. After returning home and back to bed, I hit level 5 fishing and chose the fisher profession, so now I make a load of money off of my fish. Day 13 is the day of the infamous egg festival, one of my personal favorites. I water all my crops and forage to kill time before the festival starts. I used all my money on strawberries and managed to snag 19 seeds. After talking to everyone in town to build up some friendship, I talked to Liz to get the egg hunt started. I haven't played this festival in such a long time, so I only managed to snag 10 eggs, but that was still enough to beat Abigail and secure the straw hat. I wanted to waste no time with my strawberries, so I planted them as soon as I got back from the festival. Day 14, I woke up to the glorious sight of so many crops to manually water. After that, I lidded my pockets full of items that needed to go to the community center and the museum. I dropped off items in the community center, then picked up a lot of flowers, so I wanted to go on a bit of a gifting spree, while saving one for Haley because it was her birthday. I realized that Haley was going to take forever to come out of her room, so I ran my museum items over in the meantime. Once I finished that up, I ran back to Haley's house in time to give her her birthday gift and got her up to 1 heart. I made my way north to go give the mountain fish some decluttering of their families. As I was fishing, I was racking my brain through all the potential marriageable candidates, trying to figure out who to woo. I almost decided on Sam, but I ended up going on Penny because I really want her strawberry furniture. The next few days I'm still debating between these two, so it takes me a little bit to start putting in a lot of effort for Penny. After my fishing was done, I made my way back home with some new donations and a good amount of money. Day 15 was a bad luck day, so after watering my crops, I grabbed my fishing rod and proceeded to forage through town because salmon berry season was upon us. I stumbled into the sewer cutscene with the town kids, but promptly skipped it because I got bored. I grabbed some more berries, then headed over to the beach to set up for my all-day fishing once again. I managed to snag a dino egg, which was awesome, but I guess the spirits were bad in real life too, because I ended up losing the footage of the second half of day 15. It was all fishing after I got the dino egg, really boring, so I promise you guys didn't miss much. Day 16 made up for the misfortune of day 15 because I managed to get the other gold parsnips I needed for the quality crops bundle. It was also a good luck day, so after tending to the rest of my crops, I made my way through town for some new forageables and a quick stop by the community center to drop off my parsnips before running up into the mines. I hit floor 37 before having to run home because I lost track of time. I also hit level 3 farming that night. I woke up to another bad luck day for day 17, but it felt like a good luck day because I had some cauliflower waiting for me. I ran that up to the community center to finish the spring crops bundle. After getting a hold of my speed grow, I ran down to Willie's to pick up the fiberglass rod. I spent half of my day fishing off of the pier, then moved up to the bridge on the river to get some good fishing in over there. This must have been an amazing switch because I managed to get my hands on the first ancient seed. I made my way home early to get some copper smelting because I wanted to get a silo started, so as I waited for it to smelt, I fished on my farm. I made a third furnace to improve smelting capacity, then headed to bed. I made bank off of crops and fish, so I knew I was going to be set money-wise for cows and a barn once I got my silo built. Day 18 was a good luck day, so I gathered my tools and mentally prepared myself for the mines. I decided to bring my hoe with me because I wanted to try and grab some more clay for my silo. I was braving the mines, going down like crazy, which was amazing because I was having horrible ladder luck. I tried so hard to get to floor 50, but I only managed level 47 before having to return to my farm. I also only seemed to grab one piece of clay. Okay. I sorted out my inventory when I returned home before crafting another junk chest and heading to bed. I also ended up hitting level 2 combat. On day 19, I received the cauliflower request from Jody, so after watering my crops and smelting some more copper, I grabbed my cauliflower and some other items that I needed to donate and headed into town. After dropping off my artifacts and gems, I went to the beach to absolutely rip it apart in search of clay. I know that there is a proper way to farm clay, but I was way too lazy to look it up and just tried to brute force it. I got tired of my incorrect clay farming, so I ran my cauliflower over to Jody and dropped off some community center items. I made my way back to my farm to plant my ancient seed and clear up some of my inventory. I did a little bit of wood chopping, but decided to grab some more salmon berries and return to my poorly executed clay farming. It worked out in the end because I got all the clay I needed for a silo. I still had some time and energy left, so I did a little bit of fishing on my farm to pass the time before heading to bed. Day 20 was the start of something new. And by new, I mean a silo! After watering my crops, I creepily waited around Robin's to open so I could demand a silo. I wanted to go mining after I got my silo ordered because it was a good luck day, but I decided to go upgrade my pickaxe instead. So I headed over to Clint's to demand something from him too. Once he started working on my copper pick, I spent the rest of the day with my bobber in the water trying to get some more moolah. I stayed in town for a bit, but then moved up to the mountain lake to get a good variety. I made my way home with a good haul and managed to reach level 7 fishing that night. Because I was waiting for my pick to be upgraded, I spent all of day 21 decorating the farm. I got my first harvest of strawberries, so that was super exciting, but other than strawberries, I literally spent all day just pathing on my farm. I was clearing trees and planting spaces for crops when I eventually get my hands on the quality sprinklers. I also hit level 4 farming while making bank off of my strawberries. I made my way into town on day 22 to go collect my pickaxe while also digging through the trash to get some bread and cookies. Despite the bad luck, I made my way into the mines. I was only able to make it down 5 floors to level 50 because of the stupid infested floor I got on floor 49. I swear it felt like I was on that floor for years, just mindlessly attacking slimes with my really shitty sword. Day 23 was a lot better, but also worse at the same time. The spirits were very happy, which will be nice for later when I brave the mines, but Demetrius popped by the farm to propose the idea of putting something in that empty cave on the side of my farm. I obviously picked the fruit bats because that will be an amazing help for the community center. I made my way up to Robin's to just stare through her windows until she opened, only to realize that it is a Tuesday. I clutched up and was able to still get access to her shop while she walked by, but I realized I was short on wood. I managed to make it all work though. I got enough wood and I was able to purchase the barn. After that high, I decided to go upgrade my axe, so I wobbled on over to Clint's and threw my axe down in the copper and gold in his face. After having such a good day with my luck on Robin, on top of the very happy spirits, I finally decided to head over to the mines. That is where my good day ended. My shitty sword ended up screwing me over because I was consistently getting ghosts spawning now because I was in the ice mines and I wasn't doing enough damage to them, so I ended up dying in the mines. Luckily, Mara was able to drag me out and I was able to recover my coal from the guild. Because I was traumatized, I decided to go out in town to give some gifts to calm my nerves. I wanted to give my emerald to Penny, but she was in bed at 7:30, so I went back to my farm instead. I grabbed some items for the community center and was able to make a good drop off. I surprisingly hit level 3 combat and level 4 farming that night. Day 24 was a nice cooldown from yesterday. It was the flower dance. I spent some time beforehand just clearing fiber and stone, then made my way down to the forest. I wasn't good enough friends with anyone. In fact, other than Vincent, Haley was my best friend. I decided to try and ask anyway just to get rejected with an ew, no. So I sadly stood next to creepy Clint while the other bachelors and bachelorettes danced their hearts away. Day 25 marks the first quarter point of this playthrough, so I decided to do something super special. Geode cracking! After getting my second strawberry harvest, I collected all my geodes and headed over to Clint's to get cracking. I was super low on money, but I was able to make it work and scrape by with the biggest win being 10 gold ore. After dropping off my new gems at the museum, I made my way back to the farm to pop that gold in the furnace. I decided to fish while I was waiting on it to smelt. Once I got my gold bar, I immediately ran it up to the community center to finish off another blacksmith bundle. I am now just 1 fire quartz away from my mine carts. I spent the rest of the night fishing on my farm to build my money back up. On day 26, the spirits were in good humor, so that means it's a mines day. After collecting some wild plums and a pomegranate from my fruit cave, I made my way over to the mountains. I gave Linus one of my plums, then headed into the mines. I was able to get a better weapon, the wood mallet, so I was having an easier time in the ice highest levels. I was able to make it all the way down to floor 67 before having to quit for the night. I also hit level 3 foraging. My barn was ready on day 27. I watered my crops and ran down to Marnie's to almost break down her door to let myself in. I wanted my cow so badly. Once she finally let me in, I got my grubby little hands on a white cow that I named Kroger. It felt fitting. After I gave Kroger some love, I collected some items and headed back to the mines because it was another good luck day. That good luck was short-lived because every ounce of patience I had for the mines was sucked out of my soul with a swirly straw because I could not find the ladder on floor 68. I was lucky to find it after clearing nearly every single rock on that floor and surpassed my expectations by hitting floor 75 before returning home. If getting stuck on floor 68 wasn't bad enough, I kicked Dongle into a position that made it nearly impossible to get into bed. I promise I'm not an animal abuser. Day 28 marks the last day of spring and yet another day spent in the mines. Before that though, I tended to my crops, gave Kroger a good pet, and found a blackberry in my fruit cave. I then ran my good humor over to the mines to finally hit floor 80. This means I can finally farm gold and hopefully get my hands on a fire quartz soon. I went home because my health was low, but I still had a good amount of energy left, so I cleared my inventory to make way for some fish. I spent the rest of spring just fishing away on my farm. I also hit level 4 combat that night. Day 29 is the start of summer. I got this message that I've actually never seen before from the fortune teller, completely neutral spirits. I then cleared my old strawberries and hoed out land to make a sprinkler pattern. I didn't have access to quality sprinklers yet, but I did want to make room for them just in case I get them soon so I don't have to dig up a crop to put a sprinkler down. I headed into Pierre's to get a cutscene that I would promptly skip, then bought my summer seeds. I was a bit lower on money than I thought, so I'll return another time for my corn and wheat. For now, I just got a pepper, a tomato, and a good amount of blueberries and melons, all for the community center. After I planted and watered everything, I plopped some fertilizer on there and then realized I was pretty low on energy, so I decided to do a community center run. After I dropped off the few items I had stocked up, I rummaged through trash cans and made my way down to the beach to get started on my summer fishing. I was able to get a tuna and a good amount of other money makers, but I was stupid and exhausted on the pier, so I had to eat some nasty seaweed to be able to make it home. On day 30, I had enough money to go grab the wheat and corn that I missed yesterday, so after doing my daily chores, I headed back over to Pierre's. I also played it smart in my barn and was able to snag the hay I needed for the community center. I picked up my seeds, then went foraging around town to collect the summer forageables. The only thing I was missing though was a spiceberry, but I couldn't find it, so I returned to my farm to plant and fertilize my crops. After my crops were nice and tucked in, I started smelting some iron while I worked on clearing the farm to the south to make way for some new paths. With my upgraded axe, I was able to remove some of the bigger tree stumps that were blocking the way. I woke up on day 31 to hear that an earthquake had happened in the night. I was a bit confused at first, but then later realized that the spa and train station had opened up. I filled the day after my chores with some wood chopping to get some peppers made. All the resin and syrup from the trees are great community center items and are also used in quite a chunk of good crafting recipes. After my wood massacre on my farm, I wanted to try the mines again, but I caught myself and noticed that I was pretty low on energy, so I decided to fish instead. I did my regular raccooning through the trash and was able to dig up some cookies and a carp surprise. I gave the cookies to Jas to make up for the terrible gift that I gave her yesterday and ate the carp surprise for myself to get some more energy for fishing. I spent my time on the beach trying to get a tilapia and a red snapper, not realizing that the red snapper can only be caught in the rain. I figured that must be why I wasn't reeling it in, so I moved up to the mountain lake to try and hook the walleye, also not realizing that it needs to be caught in fall. All my efforts weren't wasted though because I hit level 8 fishing and made bank off of my fish. Day 32 was a rainy neutral day, so I switched my route out for my mallet and my pickaxe and headed for the mines. I was getting upset that I was not at floor 100 yet and I was really missing that star drop. I got hit in the face with a sore fact that my luck was in fact neutral. I also got hit by a lot of other things, so I decided to just keep it tame with some gold farming. Once I got too low on health, I left to go bring my emerald to Penny, getting me our first heart. I made my way back to my farm to clear my inventory and grab my rod. I also grabbed a flower to give to Jas for her birthday. I don't like that my best friends are the town children and the old homeless man. I made my way up to the mountain lake to look for the walleye again because I still hadn't looked up when you can get it, so that's why I was a little upset with my haul. It turned out okay because I hit level 5 mining and decided to go with the miner profession. Day 33 blessed me with good luck. I guess you overheard my calls for that star drop. Before we head into the mines though, Kroger aged up. I milked her for the first time, then took my milk with me on my dangerous cave journey. Felt I was making good progress considering the time and thought I would actually be able to make it to floor 100. That turned out to be a big old joke though because I got viciously attacked on floor 89 and Linus had to drag my bleeding corpse out of the mines. I only lost money and my weapon, so I hobbled over to the guild to request it back and cowardly ran back to my farm. I started smelting my gold, then filled my pockets with the community center items and museum items I needed to drop off. I was able to get all my items into the community center, but I made it to the museum too late, so I guess we'll have to drop this off another time. I also gave Dongle a good pet before heading to bed. Day 34 was already off to a better start because my wheat and my pepper were ready. I plopped those in the chest ready for my next community center run. After taking care of Kroger, I finally looked up where and when to get the fish I needed. I noticed that I can snag the sturgeon now, so I ran my little legs up to the mountain lake, picked my spot, and started fishing. I managed to hook the sturgeon twice, but flubbed it both times and went home empty-handed. Well, not completely empty-handed. I managed to fish up another ancient seed, so that's exciting. Day 35 started with me thinking I was going to hop into the secret woods and start hardwood farming. I quickly gave up on that because my chests were in desperate need of help. I was running out of storage and I was getting sick of the lack of organization. I spent almost all my energy deforesting my farm to get my hands on enough wood for more chests and pathing to make everything just look a little bit nicer. I concluded my tree massacre with some fiber and stone clearing just so I could get a look at my entire farm and try and figure out where I want everything to go. Progress was slow when I was transferring my chests over, but at the end of the day I was very happy with the start I had gotten on my little chest station. The spirits were upset on day 36, so I kept to myself and just continued to decorate the farm. It was mainly a day full of me fiddling around with my paths, trying to make my chest area look a little bit better, and this cute pattern I did in front of my warp statue thing. I also got to work on another sprinkler area, just planning out the space and surrounding it with paths and some fencing. After that, my farm felt a little naked, so I crafted some wood and fire things to make it look both pretty and bright. I called it a night after that and hit level 4 foraging with my goodies from my fruit cave. The spirits were even angrier on day 37, so I decided to go sturgeon hunting once again. I also brought my axe with me to try and get my hands on some more wood to make house upgrades and buildings easier to get. I was getting scared because once I started fishing, I felt I wasn't doing any better than the last time I tried to get the sturgeon. That was all short-lived because I managed to hook it pretty quickly. I just spent the rest of the day up on the mountain and kept fishing to keep getting money. I was determined on day 38, so I didn't care what the spirits said. I was going into the mines to search for a fire quartz. That was the only thing keeping me back from my mine carts, and I was desperate to feel a sense of completion. So I gathered my tools and headed north. I was able to get just what I was looking for at 11 a.m., so I grabbed it and ran. I didn't want to stay in the mines any longer than I had to. After I made it back to my farm, I loaded my pockets full of more donations and ran up to the community center to get my minecart secured straight away. I then took my Omni Geodes I got as a reward over to Clint's to crack them open because I was doing a museum run anyway. I got a good amount of donations in and managed to collect my new friend, placed him behind my drop-off box so he can oversee all of my future profits. I then ran a strawberry up tomorrow for her birthday and decided to check out the little area behind Linus's tent to collect some more wood. I went to bed excited for my Junimo cutscene and also got a lovely surprise of level 5 farming. Obviously, I chose the tiller profession. Day 39 was the luau, another festival to witness here in Pelican Town, so I was determined to make a good soup. Luckily, I had saved one of my gold strawberries for this occasion. I killed some time by chopping wood, waiting for the festival to start, then ran down to the beach to go say hello to everyone and make a good goddamn soup for the governor. Popped my strawberry in and got a decent evaluation. I'd say that was a good year 1 luau. I woke up to good humor on day 40, so once I finished my chores, I knew I had to head for the mines. I was able to get a good harvest and get some items I would need for the community center and quests later. After securing my goodies away safely in their chest, I headed down to floor 85 of the mines. I was aiming for floor 100 today. I was determined. I was getting lucky with some floors and I was making decent progress for how early it was. But I'll let you guys guess what happened next. I died on floor 88. I was too excited with the mushrooms that were scattered around, I completely ignored my health and dropped down to 0 too fast. At this point, I feel bad for Linus. He has to carry my fat ass out of the depths of the mines because I suck at combat. I stared longingly into the guild while I waited for it to open to get my pitiful amount of coal back. I also decided to get a better weapon because that was obviously the problem. The mallet, not me. I then did what I always do when I die in the mines and did a run up to the community center. I noticed that I was missing some flowers for the bulletin board, so I stopped by Pierre's on my way home to pick up a poppy and a sunflower seed. I was mentally exhausted from the hope that had been ripped away from me, so I called it a night at 6. When I woke up to the rainy day that was day 41, I knew it was going to be another mines day. I was sick and tired of being taken advantage of, and I just wanted to get past level 90, but I had to get through my chores first. I got a nice melon harvest, so nice in fact that I got all 5 gold quality ones I needed for the community center. I knew that was a good omen, so I gathered my things and headed towards the mines. I was getting my ass beat in the same 5 floors and I was losing hope. I did bring my melons with me, so I had a good food source, so I was finally able to make my way to floor 90 and gain my obsidian's edge. I had energy and hope left, so I kept pushing through. I was recording this on my birthday, so I guess that was the extra luck I needed because I made it to floor 100. I said the taste reminded me of subscribers, so if you guys want to be my own personal little star drop, I would love if you hit that subscribe button. I tried to keep going to keep up this good luck streak, but I decided to head home when I hit another infested floor. It was also nice to see that I hit level 5 combat. I went with the fighter path. I wanted to treat myself on day 42, so I gathered my fresh blueberries and my other melons and decided to run them up to the community center before I sat down to fish all day. I was able to get a quality sprinkler from the summer crops bundle, so I was happy to eliminate some of my daily watering. When I was leaving the community center, I found my way into a Penny cutscene. She was helping old Georgie get his mail, but was a little bit rude about it, so I was able to step in and clear the air. After this, I wanted to give Penny this pretty flower I had just found, so I went to the museum and the park to look for her, but I gave up and headed for the mountain lake. I gave my flower to Linus instead and started fishing. I managed to reel in a frozen tear while Sebastian was standing next to me, so I just popped into his hands. I finally got tired and headed home with my haul around 10:30. I put away the goodies I got from little chests and sold my fish that had made almost 8K that day. Despite it being a good humor rainy day for day 43, I didn't go into the mines. I did my normal farm chores, then gathered my pick and some iron to go upgrade my pickaxe. I also brought my axe with me because I wanted to do some wood harvesting. I wanted to start upgrading buildings and therefore I needed more wood. I dropped off my pickaxe and ran into the cindersap forest to start collecting. I chopped a few trees to realize that I could go get the red snapper because it was raining. I dropped all of my chopping to go grab my fishing rod and ran to the beach. I just kept fishing the rest of the night. On my way back, I checked the community board and picked up the quest to go give Emily a tuna. I was right by the saloon and had one on me, so I just ran down and handed it off. I also dropped my red snapper off at the community center because why not? I then made my way home to sell my fish and found Dongle hiding in my bed. I thought about going into the mines on day 44, only to remember that my pickaxe was currently being upgraded. I was greeted by my first corn harvest when I stepped outside and got 2 gold qualities out of that. I also decided that today was the day to build a coop. Of course, I picked another Tuesday to go to Robin's. After some waiting, it all worked out and I got my coop started. I then made my way over to the lake and did some fishing. I managed to reel in an emerald and ran it over to Penny. Took me way too long to find her, but she loved it. I noticed that I still had some energy left, so I spent the rest of the night fishing in the town river. All my fishing paid off because I managed to hit level 9! Day 45 was yet another rainy good luck day. I managed to snag an apricot and some oak resin from my farm, so I did a little community center run. I was able to get a good chunk donated, so I'm happy with my progress. I rushed through the trash on my way to collect my pickaxe from Clint. I then remembered I had mine carts and I took those up to the mines. I hit floor 106 before having to give up because the infested floor wore me down so much. I still had energy, so I cleared up some spots on my farm and demolished more trees in the southern forest. I hit level 6 mining, so that made my near-death experience worth it. The extra displeased spirits on day 46 confirmed that it would be another wood harvesting day. I grabbed my chair planning to hop into the secret woods and would actually go through with it this time. The secret woods have ferns and a fish that I need for the community center, as well as hardwood. I managed to harvest some more of my blueberries before heading down to my deforestation plans. Once I got my hardwood, my ferns, my fish, and an unexpected wall basket, I headed back into the normal forest once again, but only after I played patty cake with my chair. I did some more clearing of the area to get the little bits of fiber and stone, as well as some mild tree destruction. I returned home almost exhausted, but was able to hang my new foliage before heading to bed. I hit level 5 foraging and went with the gatherer profession. Day 46 was yet another rainy day, but not just any rainy day. A rainy day where my coop was finished. I speed ran my chores, then cleared some area where I wanted to eventually move my animals to so I could kill some time. I made it to Marnie's almost right when she opened to get my chickens, Mr. Shoe and Gobbles. I spent a lot of this rainy day also wood farming. I basically cut down every last tree that I could find. I got jack shit from the cart lady, but made up for it by buying myself a watermelon band from the Hat Mouse. Once I was content with the amount of wood I had, I headed home to clear my inventory and start fishing. I just fished for the rest of the night because I'll eventually need 12K for that barn upgrade. I wanted to do something different on day 48, so I was pleasantly surprised to find out that the spirits were very happy. Before setting off for the mines, I did my basic farm chores. I was very happy with my corn harvest because I got the last 3 gold ones that I needed, so that means I'm done with the quality crops bundle. I took some other crops as a food source with me and found a lot of grapes on my way over to the mines. I had high expectations for today, but I didn't fall short this time. I actually hit the bottom of the mines and got my hands on the skull key. I didn't want to leave the mines just yet, so I headed back up to the ice floors to farm iron and dust spirits. The biggest high of the day was seeing that I hit level 6 farming, which means hardwood fences, cheese makers, and quality sprinklers. Day 49 started off better than I thought. After going back through the footage, I noticed that I got the maki roll recipe. What a find! Thanks, Queen of Sauce. I guess I was a little too focused on starting my quality sprinklers empire. I wanted to get my sprinklers made today so that I wouldn't have to keep watering my crops, so I focused on smelting materials. Past the time, I cleared and decorated my farm. The most notable part being that I moved my barn and coop down to this little central island. I was pathing far south on my farm before I went to Robin's though, and I was able to snag some good items from the cart lady today. I got a fried egg and some goat cheese. After I was happy with my new placements and decorations, I filled my pockets and ran items up to the community center. I returned home to plop a blueberry in my preserves jar and to finish up the sprinklers I could make for the day. Despite day 50 being such a milestone for these kinds of playthroughs, this day does not stand out at all. I had no clue what to do, so I just did a bunch of random chores. It started off with a new blueberry harvest and gathering my sprinkler materials again. I found another pomegranate in my fruit cave and gathered my pine tar to only realize that I had my tapper on the wrong tree. I set off to go say hello to my animals while in search of a maple tree that I could retap. I was happy to see that I got my first eggs for my chickens, so I made my mayonnaise makers ASAP because I had no need for small eggs and mayo sells for more money. I also made some more preserve jars just to turn my blueberries into jelly a bit quicker. I made a handful more sprinklers, then ran into town to drop off some of the community center items in the museum. I got a little distracted because I wanted to give Penny another emerald and I could not find her. I even had her schedule pulled up and everything, but it took me forever. I didn't give up this time though, and she ended up with her emerald in the end. I then popped my pomegranate into its bundle and finished up the construction bundle, which hurt a little bit because I spent so much time collecting wood. Because I was down on wood again, I ran to the side of the forest where you usually find spring onions and Robin's axe to clear those trees, which I always forget about. I returned home to see that my mayo was done, but I had to clear my pockets first. Once I popped some items into the shipping bin, I was ready to call it a night and dive into the second half of this playthrough. Day 51 was dedicated to making the farm look prettier. I cleared some areas and placed new paths around to make it easier to get around my farm. I also spent some time smelting bars for more sprinklers. I also wanted to spend that time being productive and not just waiting around for the furnace to be done, so I got my fishing rod out and spent the rest of the day fishing. I had big plans for day 52, my plans being a barn upgrade. I had to do my chores before running to Robin, but it was an exciting day because I got some jelly that I could take to the community center. I grabbed some other materials and a gift for Penny, then ran over to Robin's to get my barn upgrade started. I was surprised with Maro's first cutscene, which is honestly the reason that I say I do not like Demetrius. He's protective over his daughter, but it's to an extreme that it's just kind of creepy. Once I got my barn upgrade secured, I ran my jelly over to the community center to finish off the artisan bundle. I went on another hunt for Penny because I wanted to give her an emerald to hopefully get her up high enough that I could get the mermaid pendant and secure our marriage soon. I couldn't find her in her normal spot, so I went around to say hello to some other townies while stumbling into another cutscene. This one being where Haley is complaining that she has to do some minuscule chores. My hunt for Penny continued after this, only to finally cave in and look at the wiki to find out where she was. She was in her house doing dishes the whole time. I gave her my emerald, then ran back up to the mountain to fish the rest of the day away. I dedicated day 53 to completing the tasks that the residents have asked me to do, such as bringing Demetrius a melon and George a hot pepper. I also took this cart quest that Willie had posted on the help wanted board, so I spent the rest of the day fishing up at the mountain lake trying to get all the carp I needed. Once I was satisfied with my haul and done with the quest, I ran over to the saloon to check it off with Willie, only to find out that he wasn't there. I decided to run home and sell my fish and call it a night after that rather than just waiting for him. My barn was upgraded on day 54, so I was bursting at the seams to get my hands on a goat. I sped through my chores, but I still had time to kill, so I chopped some wood before heading over to Marnie's. I got my goat and named him Franklin. Don't ask me why, I just saw it in his eyes. I collected some hardwood, then cleared the rest of the trees that I could find in Cindersap Forest. I also got my daisy hat from the Hat Mouse, aka my favorite hat in the game. Once I got back to my farm, I started smelting some more materials for more sprinklers, and I cleared some new space for another sprinkler area I wanted. I ran out of energy fairly quickly, but I still had daylight left, so I grabbed Pam's pale ale and my Nautilus shell for the community center. I hit level 6 foraging that night. Day 55 was a rainy day. I wanted to upgrade my coop after my chores, so I gathered my items and headed over to Robin's. I don't know why I thought the coop upgrade was only 8,000 and not 10. I also was low on stone, so I left Robin's empty-handed and made my way over to the mines. I stayed on the ice levels because I wanted iron and coal on top of stone. I was also very happy to get the last scroll that I needed to access the dwarf, so I was going to donate that tomorrow. I was able to get a good amount of materials, so at least it was a successful day. I also got level 6 combat. The last day of summer was marked on day 56. After my daily chores, I filled my pockets full of geodes and other items I needed to run to the museum. Once I was done donating, I ran over to the mines to bomb open the area with the dwarf and got the weathered floor path. I also slipped into Robin's to secure my coop upgrade. I was excited to go home and try my new path, only to realize that I hated it and preferred the lighter wood. Because I was already working on paths, I just spent some more time clearing trees and making more lights while waiting for the Dance of the Moonlight jellies to start. Best music in the game and a beautiful way to end off summer for this playthrough. Day 57 starts off fall, easily the best season in the game. It's just so pretty. And no, I will not be taking other opinions at this time because this is the correct one. I made sure my animals were okay, then headed over to Pierre's to spend all of my gold on crops. I wanted more and had more land prepped, but I was limited by my wallet. Once every crop was tucked in for the rest of the season, I made my way over to the town river to get some fishing in for fall. I did some more research and made sure I was getting the fish I needed and not wasting time on fish that were out of season. I caught my tiger trout, then made my way over to the mines to go try and get my hands on the ghost fish for the community center, and the stonefish for the eventual Master Angler achievement. Who knows, maybe we can go for a perfection run on this farm. I dropped my new fish off in their respective bundles and headed home to get some rest for my sleepy little head. Day 58 was Penny's birthday! I finished my daily farmer chores, then grabbed an emerald and headed into town. I was happy to see that the community board was now up in town, so I can do some bigger tasks for the townies. It was still too early to drop off Penny's gift, so I fished outside of her trailer for a little bit. Once she popped out, I put that pretty jewel in her hands and got us up to 6 hearts! I took a glance at the new board, but I didn't like either of the quests, so I just headed down to the beach and went fishing instead. I got my hands on a lot of seaweed, so I started to consider getting a fish pond built. I figured Sturgeon Row would be nice for the future. Once it was almost midnight and I was nearly exhausted, I ran home to sort my chests with my new fish and sold the extra. After my chores, I did some foraging on day 59. I wanted to get myself a duck because my coop was done, so when she opened, I demanded my duck from Marnie. I gave it the glorious name of Toenail. I did a quick stop by the beach to check for more forageables, then headed to Pierre's to get the rest of the seeds I wanted to get at the start of fall. I got humbled real quick because I completely ignored the fact that it was Wednesday, so I got my seeds from Jojo Mart instead. Once I was done foraging and made my way home, I decided to do a little fishing to kill the rest of the time I had left of the day. I grabbed an emerald and ran it over to Penny as fast as I could on day 60. It was enough to push us up to 7 hearts. I then fished off this bridge in town for a little bit, headed over to the beach to look for some last bits of the community center I needed, and then I just spent the rest of the day deforesting the cindersap forest. I spent day 61 farming wood as well. I cleared up a lot on my farm and decided to finally unlock the other half of the beach to go get some more forageables for the community center. I went back to the cindersap forest to get some hardwood and cleared trees that I missed in yesterday's haul. I worked on some pathing before chopping some more wood on my farm, where I noticed that I got a mushroom tree when it was thundering. I headed to bed after that high. I woke up to a massive harvest on day 62, aka a lot of gold. I headed to Pierre's to grab some more cranberry seeds to fill the missing spots left from my harvest. I planted them and grabbed my materials and headed into Robin's in hopes of a fish pond. I was too low on stone, so I was rejected. I spent the rest of the day collecting materials, so I started by the train station, then made my way back to floor 40 of the mines to collect more stone and coal. I hit level 7 farming after I went to bed. I was unsure of what to do on day 63, so I did my chores, wandered around town looking for a quest or something, then gave up and went fishing at the mountain lake. I spent the entire day fishing. It was therapeutic. It paid off as well because I hit level 10 fishing and I went with the angler profession. It was a nice fall storm that woke me up on day 64. I wanted to get something from Robin today, but I decided against the fish pond because I wanted to upgrade my house instead. I didn't have to stare Robin down today because I hit her house at a perfect time. I got my house upgrade requested, then headed into town to search for Penny. I ended up finding her in her trailer and got a few of her cutscenes. First, we cleaned up a little bit and Pam came home all angry. She made me a snack to make up for it, but it was the worst thing I've ever tasted, but she doesn't have to know that. I was out of emeralds, so I gave her a diamond instead. It did wonders though, because we hit 8 hearts. I immediately ran over to Pierre's to pick up that bouquet and ask Penny to be my girlfriend, which she obviously said yes. I didn't want to ruin this perfect day with anything, so I played it safe and went fishing off the mountain for the rest of the night. It also worked out because I was able to snag the walleye that night. I woke up to happy spirits and an apology letter on day 65. Penny felt bad for her mother's behavior, but I have no say in this because I've been slightly feeding her addiction. I gathered some items that I needed to run up to the community center during my chores today, so I headed into town to get those donated. I wandered down to the community board and saw Clint's request for bones. I took it and ran into the mines to get started on that ASAP. I got about halfway through the quest before calling it a night. I got a good amount of stone and also hit level 7 mining. My amaranth was ready on day 66, so I took this as an opportunity to take a trip down to Marnie's to hopefully get enough friendship with her so I can steal the mayor's panties. I wanted them for the fair and to eventually sew and wear. I popped into Marnie's, contemplated another duck, gave her gifts, and then grabbed the mayor's shorts. I left her ranch with the underwear in my back pocket, then I ran into Penny's picnic cutscene with the kids. I tell her that I do want kids, which is a real life lie, but hey, gotta woo the woman. Once that scene was over, I decided to go on another tree massacre, because why not? I was in the forest already. As I was chopping trees, I was gathering berries, because it just brings me so much joy to have them little bloop out of the bush. I made my way over to Clint's once I was done in Cindersap Forest to get my axe upgraded to steel. After my axe was in Clint's care, I ran over to the mines to keep working on that bone quest. I made some more good progress and I was able to complete the quest before heading to bed. I got another amazing harvest on day 67 and was able to make a good community center drop off too. I grabbed some more pumpkin seeds to fill the hole where my forage seeds were, and I gathered some materials to make some more pathing and more lights on my farm. I did another run to the community center and paid off a few of the bus bundles. It still felt early when I got home, so I snuck in a little bit of fishing on my farm to call it a night. I also hit level 7 foraging. My steel axe was ready on day 68, so I rushed my chores, then threatened to hurt Clint while staring him down through his little window out front. I grabbed my axe and happily went wood farming after I got the 10k bundle for the bus paid off. I gathered wood from the secret woods, a little bit from the forest, and some from my farm, then headed to bed for the night. Day 69, nice, was Abigail's birthday, so I went through my chores, grabbed an amethyst, and headed into town. I dropped off her gift, which she loved, then made my way back to the minecart so I could spend the rest of the day in the mines. I stayed around the ice levels because they're my favorite, and they also have materials that I needed. I gathered some good gems and other materials, so I went to bed happy. I got pumpkins and wine on the day of day 70. I was smart enough to save some pumpkins, but so stupid that I sold my wine. I needed both of those for the community center, but it's okay. It's not like I'll never get more wine. I was going through the rest of my chores when I was happy to see that my little dinosaur is hatched. I named him Sparta and let him roam free. I love him so much, it hurts. He's almost better than Dongle. If that wasn't enough to make this day great, I was able to finish off the pantry bundles and secured my greenhouse. I was right in the high of life as you will, so I ran back to my farm to grab an emerald that I got yesterday for Penny. She loved it, of course, so I wanted to give this love to others. I took Harvey's largemouth bass request and got to fishing. I got it pretty quick, found Harvey, and got my prize. I also had a quest completed for Clint, so I ran over to get my money from him too. I wasn't done with fishing, so after I foraged, I sat down and fished for a little bit. I got bored fairly quickly though, so I headed home to clear out my chests and go to bed. I was just way too excited for my greenhouse. It was a rainy day 71, but I didn't let that stop me from setting up my greenhouse. I grabbed some sprinklers I wasn't using outside and set them up inside. I went inside to plant my 2 ancient seeds and my rare seed because I forgot to plant it at the beginning of fall. I was very satisfied with my greenhouse so far, despite it practically being empty. I was just happy to have it unlocked. I honestly think that's the fastest I've ever gotten it. I moved on to foraging, then headed into town fairly quickly. I was excited to get a new quest from the community board, so I took the prismatic jelly one. I've never been able to complete it, so I didn't have high hopes. I was also a little chicken because I didn't go into the mines today because it was bad luck, so I fished off the pier instead. I woke up to good humor on day 72, so I knew I had to try my luck at the jelly quest. I did my chores, then cleared my inventory and headed up to the mines using my mine carts. I wasn't doing terribly, I just didn't know what floors to look on, but I almost shit myself when I saw that the festival was ready. I completely forgot that today was the fair. I dropped everything to run home to get the purple panties to get my Grange display ready. I popped them in, started the judging, and got 750 tokens for my beautiful display. I ran down to the spinning wheel only to lose so many times. Is the percentage different on the Switch? I swear I win once, then lose twice if I solidly bet on green. I took a step back and did the fishing minigame to get some more tokens I could throw away at the wheel. I was so frustrated that I just wanted to leave, so I just did the fishing game until I had enough money for the star drop. I didn't get anything else, I was just too upset. I had enough gold to pay off the rest of the bus bundle on day 73. I did my chores lightning quick, then took some other items I needed to drop off with me. I got the bus bundles complete and would have access to the desert tomorrow. I took this high into the mines because I wanted to keep looking for the prismatic slime. I googled what floors to look on and it told me to stay around level 95, 105, and 115. I got slaughtered though. I wasn't able to find the slime and was killed so fast. I later learned the actual floors I should have been looking on were 5, 45, and 85 because that's where slime spawn chances are higher. Mara found me this time and was able to drag me out. I wasn't missing anything of value, so I just foraged the rest of the day upset. I was still hunting on the wrong floors on day 74. I was upset to not find the slime, but I was so excited to find a prismatic shard. I always have the worst luck with these, so I was so happy. I dropped everything that I was doing and I had to run it home. I didn't want to risk dying and losing it. I felt safe once I got out of the mines, and it was still a little early, so I ran a diamond over to Penny, only to be rejected by the game because I have given her too many gifts this week. I returned home and tucked my prismatic shard safely away until tomorrow. I was so excited for day 75 because I was going to go to the desert and get an incredible sword upgrade. I had a lot of time to kill before Pam showed up to drive me over, so I foraged through town and down to the beach. I was done with that in time and ran over my bus ticket. I peeked inside the skull caverns just to get the click, it fits dialogue. I ran over and secured my Galactic weapon. I looked at what the desert trader and Sandy had offered and then ran back over to the mines to keep hunting for that mystical jelly. I still didn't know what floors to look on, so I just was checking every 5 floors before giving up and resetting the same floors I have been. It was a fruitless journey, but at least I hit level 7 combat. It was rainy again on day 76, so I knew that I was going to spend more time in the mines looking for a stupid rainbow piece of shit. I stalled by clearing some hay to make the path to my animals a little bit easier to access, then gathered what I needed and ran down onto the mines. I was getting a little upset that I wasn't able to find this slime, so I finally looked up the floors with a higher chance of spawning slimes. I spent my time around floor 5, 45, and 85. I returned home disappointed once again and spent another night alone and without my rainbow jelly. I woke up tired on day 77. I just wanted this quest to be done, but I was losing hope rapidly. I spent another day in the mines, but this time was different. It was the last day of the quest, but something felt new. Like my luck wasn't actually neutral today, and that it was actually good. Around 7:30, I reset floor 85 again and was able to see the lovely beast. I killed it with so much joy and ran that dumb jelly over to the wizard as soon as possible. I went home happy and was able to rest easy knowing that I would never have to worry about this stupid quest ever again. I woke up to my well-earned recipe for the monster musk on day 78. I felt anew today, so I ran a diamond over to Penny and grabbed the community cleanup request from Linus. I felt I was a god of the mines that day, so I took my high hopes over to the skull mines. It was a horrible run, almost as bad as the first time I've ever entered the skull mines. I was only able to make it down to floor 12 before having to call it a day and return home. It was only 6 when I was done clearing my inventory, and I was just so drained from the mines that I just went to bed. I chose to upgrade my pick on day 79. That has to be the reason I wasn't doing well in Skull Caverns. I threw my pick at Clint, then headed north to go harvest some wood before trying to get a fish pond. Keyword is trying. I realized that it was a Tuesday a little bit too late, so I went home and continued to collect wood. Once I was bored with that, I moved over to the mines to get some fishing in. I was hoping to collect all the fish in here so I wouldn't have to do that at a later point, but I was unsuccessful with the ice pip and the lava eel, so I returned home empty-handed. I was able to make some good progress on that trash fishing quest, though. I woke up ready to get my fish pond order in place on day 80. I did my chores, ran a diamond over to Penny, whose hearts will not go up, and ran to Robin's to get that pond started. I then set up on floor 100 and fished until I got all 20 pieces of trash I needed to complete Linus's request. I dropped them off in the little trash can by the train platform and returned home for the night. I was happy to see that I hit level 9 farming. I gathered a pumpkin and Linus's berry basket first thing on day 81. My pickaxe was ready, so I was going into town anyway. Might as well get some quests done. I also brought some gold bars with me because I wanted to upgrade my axe after I picked up my pick. I got Abigail's 2-heart event while running into Pierre's to grab an apple sapling because I could not find apples in my fruit cave. I spent the rest of the day making kegs, smelting ores for sprinklers, and getting my strawberries turned into seeds with my new seed maker. My fish pond was fully built for day 82. I harvested some crops and plopped a sturgeon into the pond. I did the rest of my chores before I collected my cheese and headed to Skull Caverns. I did a pretty damn good job considering I hit level 25. I've never hit floor 25, so I was very pleased. I was also able to snag some new things from the museum as well, so it was a great day if I do say so myself. I wanted to gather materials and go foraging on day 83. I filled my pockets with some things, then headed down to the beach with one of my totems to save some time. Once I cleared the beach, something felt wrong, so I wanted to check to see if I could still get into town. I was then prompted with the message saying that the festival was being set up. I had trapped myself on the beach until the Halloween event started. I did this cool dance while I waited for the festival to begin and somehow entered from the left. I said hello to everyone, grabbed my golden pumpkin, then turned in for the night. I woke up on day 84 to notice that it was the last day of fall. I did my last harvest of the season and made my way up to greet my animals, and I was happy to see that my new duck had hatched. I accidentally named it Brad, but that's part of the reason why I think it's perfect. I then made my way into town to go collect my axe while dropping off an emerald on the way. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to marry Penny anymore in this playthrough. I just hit max hearts, and there would be no more rain until next year, so the old mariner wouldn't show up to give me that pendant. I was a little crushed by this fact, so I tried to distance myself from Penny to forget the mistake I made in calculating our love story. I grabbed my new axe from Clint, then headed to the Cindersap forest. Losing Penny was a sad start, but the day was turned around when I saw the red cabbage seed in the cart lady's cart. I was so excited to see it and thought that I actually might be able to finish off the community center in these first 100 days, but I still didn't have a truffle and it would be a slim chance to get my hands on one, so I took that fall as well. I chopped my worries away for the rest of the day. Day 85 marks the start of winter. I wanted to go head down and get some heaters for my animals, but Marnie wasn't there. I honestly tried to get heaters a few more times, but my animals never seemed upset with the cold, so I ended up being okay for the season. My pockets were full of things to donate, so I rummaged through the trash on the way over to the museum. I donated what I had and got some cool furniture that would be shoved into one of my chests, and upgraded my barn with Robin. I dropped off my wine in the community center before running around trying to collect all the winter forageables. I also grabbed the magnifying glass so now I could read secret notes. I finished off the winter foraging bundle after that and was able to secure the quarry. Now I just needed a little shell for the fish bundle and a few more random items for the bulletin board. I headed home to plant my seeds I got as a reward and called it a night. I spent all of day 86 sprucing up the farm. I planted trees and I placed fencing around to have some cuter areas around. I also made some more pathing to go around as well so I could make it around a bit easier. I moved my furnaces, crystallarium, and preserve jars to this little section I made by the greenhouse because it felt a little empty. I realized that my trees wouldn't grow on day 87, so I crafted a ton of tree fertilizer to get some growing. I did some more decoration and mainly placed fences around because I was low on hardwood. I also placed some more trees because I liked using them for decoration. I also laid down the sprinkler area. I tried to make this work back in summer, but I stole the sprinklers for the greenhouse. I wanted to make it really work this time, so I laid down some pathing and some spaces for the sprinklers to go when I eventually got my hands on them. I woke up unhappy with my coop location on day 88. I made some plans for kegs in the future and then ran up to Robin's after that to move my coop over into this little island to take up a bit more space. The empty space was a bit overwhelming, so moving the coop was a good decision, I think. I decorated the farm a little bit more before heading down to get my daily hardwood. I then moved my kegs down to their new area and went to bed. I was interrupted by this message saying that Franklin gave birth. I named it Zaddy because I have no clue who the daddy is. I found another thing to be upset about on day 89. I wanted to reorganize my chests. I spent a lot of real life time doing that, so I still had a lot of the day to kill. I popped my strawberries into the seed maker because I figured those would be my best bet until I could get my hands on some more ancient seeds, and checked my quest tab to try and figure out what to do for the day. I saw that I had this perch quest, so that's what I spent the rest of my time on. I made my way over to the mountain lake because I was getting a little sick of my farm and just fished away. I also forgot about the note that Penny sent me in the mail, so I headed up to the bathhouse to get this adorable cutscene. I made my moves like a smooth gentleman and secured our first kiss in the warm steam of the bath. I wanted to go home immediately because I didn't want to ruin that night, but I walked into Linus's cutscene, the Linus cutscene. If you know, you know. I went to bed traumatized that night. I started the Mr. QI quest on day 90. I popped my battery pack into the box in the bus tunnel, then headed over to Emily's to give her an amethyst that Clint wanted me to hand over. I got there too early, so I just awkwardly waited on her little ottoman until she came out of her room. She gave me a smooch, which was awkward, but on top of everything that happened last night, it just made me feel more traumatized. I brought my duck mayonnaise over to the saloon to get my Pinky Lemon statue, then to the train station to plop my rainbow shell in. I didn't have anything else to do, so I returned home, made some more strawberry seeds, seeds and chopped wood until bedtime. Day 91 was going to be better. I just knew it. Mostly because I had money for Pig. I named him Isolation because I knew at this point I wouldn't be able to complete the community center, so I picked a name that reflected the isolation I will have from the town. I then headed into town to solve this little puzzle I got from a secret note, just to remember that this is the one that leads you to the truck with the weird man begging for a rabbit's foot. I then spent the rest of the day fishing on the bridge near the beach to try and reel in the rest of my perch for this quest. I ended up giving up and returning home with my haul. Day 92 was the ice fishing festival. I made my way down to the space in front of Marty's ranch. I said hello to the friendly faces, picked up my rare crew, and crushed the ice fishing competition. I popped my winnings into a chest and headed to bed. I woke up to a harvest of my winter forageables on day 93. I did some basic chores afterwards, taking care of my animals, chopping hardwood, and adding fences to this new cow area. I popped into my greenhouse to get some more strawberries made into seeds, but was happy to see that my red cabbage was also ready. I did some foraging through town and on the beach before running my precious cabbage out to the community center. I took Gunther's bone quest, so I headed to the mines after completing the bundle and got to killing some more skeletons. I made it about a quarter of the way through before heading home and calling it a night. I started day 94 off with some hardwood collecting, then wanted to check out the quarry. I cleared it up for a little while just to make space. Eventually this will make a good location for kegs and preserve jars. I didn't want to use all my energy on the quarry, so after a little I headed back to the mines to farm for bones. I got a lot, but it still wasn't enough to finish off the quest, so I went home a little sad. I wanted to take a little break from collecting bones on day 95, so I put my energy into the farm. I made some more kegs for the area down south, then cleared the west side to gather some more wood. After I was done with my tree genocide, I smelted some iron, then ran to clear a bit more of the quarry. I used my last bits of energy up there and then called it a night. Day 96 started with the wizard asking me to bring him a void essence. Since I was already over there, I collected some hardwood, then headed back to my farmhouse to do some furniture rearranging. I made my bedroom look a little bit nicer for the eventual day Penny moves in. I was a bit sad after moving my furniture, so I headed back into the mines to work on the bone collection some more. My sadness was short-lived because I managed to get all the bones I needed, but it was a little too late to drop them off that night, so that was the main priority for tomorrow. After my chores were done on day 97, I ran my bones over to Gunther's drop-off box. I then ran down to the beach to collect some forageables and contemplated getting the iridium rod. I ran into a Willy cutscene but decided against purchasing the new rod because Saturdays are Willy's day off, so I couldn't buy it if I even wanted to. I made my way home to drop off my items and bought the last backpack upgrade instead. I spent the rest of the day sadly fishing off the pier because I still had my stupid fiberglass rod. I at least got Willy his stupid squid and was still upset because I didn't have my new stupid rod. I continued to boycott Willy's stupid purple fishing rod on day 98 and spent my money on a shed instead. I was able to get a good strawberry harvest and bulk up my greenhouse a bit as well. While I was there, I grabbed my sweet gemberry. I ran it over to the secret woods and secured my straw drop. I gathered hardwood and searched the Cindersap forest for some more trees to chop. I couldn't find any, so I ran over to the quarry to clear those trees and some more rocks. I spent the rest of the night just emptying out the quarry. I stuffed my pockets full of food in preparation for the skull mines on day 99. I killed time with chores and foraged a little bit while waiting for Pam to make her way over to her post. I felt I was making good progress, but despite all the food I had, I still died. I was brought over to Harvey's in critical condition, but I surprisingly didn't lose anything. I made my way back home, ate some food, and gathered some hardwood to kill time before the night market started. I made my way around the shops, grabbed my pearl from the mermaid show, grabbed some coffee, and headed down under the surface to get fishing up those night market fishies. I didn't get all the ones I needed, but I had to run home because it was getting late. I used the convenient warp totem man and snuggled into bed. You would expect day 100 to be super eventful and fun, but it's actually the opposite. I felt a great need to do something cool for the last day of this playthrough, but I just wanted to keep it chill and do random chores. My exciting Skull Caverns run was yesterday, so I used today to cool down. I petted my animals for the last time, grabbed my trusty axe, and chopped hardwood. I went home to clear my inventory, smelt some ores, and checked on my greenhouse crops. I got some ancient fruit today and was able to make some more seeds and put them in the ground. I then made my way over to the museum to drop off some artifacts I collected in the caverns yesterday. After that, I made my way to the quarry to clear up the last few rocks and chop some more trees to gather more materials. I foraged my way down to the bridge near the beach and just spent some time fishing before the second day of the night market started. I checked out the stands again, but didn't find anything super interesting, so I headed down and got to fishing again. I got my blobfish, warped home, cleared my inventory, and went to bed for the last time. I just want to say thank you to everyone who made it this far in this video. It was definitely a long one, but it was so much fun to film, and I hope you guys had a really fun time watching. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, please give this video a like so that I know that you did enjoy this video, and feel free to leave me a comment about what your favorite part was. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you'll never miss an update on any of my new videos. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!